Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of Living Well with Adena. Thanks for being here. We're coming up on the holidays, and the holidays pack in a lot of good times and a lot of good food. And with us today is Lisa Barlage from the OSU Extension office, the Ross County branch of that. She's here to talk about, it doesn't have to be rice cakes and water. It can be creative things that taste good and are also nutritious. So we'll just get right to it then. So Lisa, how long have you been with the OSU Extension office?
I have been with them for a little over 33 years. Yep.
Wow, you're just getting the hang of things then.
Yeah,
huh?
I guess. Yeah. New starter.
Okay. So what exactly is your role at OSU Extension?
Our role with OSU Extension, when we are affiliated with Ohio State, is to take all of the research that universities do, and for me specifically, I work a lot in the areas of family wellness especially, but healthy people, healthy relationships, and healthy finance are my primary focuses. But we take any research that's done at universities and make it applicable to people in our communities. So a good example might be that a university does research on berries, and they research how to grow them and what berries grow best in Ohio, and what berries have the most antioxidants, which would relate to me and to you, so that people could have a healthy diet. And so then I might find out about that research, and our agriculture educators might teach people how to grow the berries and market the berries at farmers market or with a business. And I might teach them, okay, well, these are the berries that they found out that were the most healthy berries, or the easiest to grow in Ohio. And here's some ways that you can fix them, and how can you store them, and how can you preserve them so that berries are still good in February that you grew in July. So that's really my role, is to take research done at the university and make it applicable to the citizens of Ross County and really anybody in Ohio.
Wow, that's great. So as you were describing your role, and we chatted just a little bit before our video, it sounds like you're a home ec person.
Actually, my degree is, I have a bachelor's and a master's in home economics education. So really just taking things that people need to do on a daily basis and making it easier for them, and teaching people those life skills.
Great. That's very helpful, because sometimes our moms and dads don't have the ability to teach those skills.
That's right.
And it's good to know that we have somebody that we can count on. So tell me about some cooking programs that your OSU Extension office has.
One that we have a couple that we partner with Adena on specifically, and one of those that we partnered for many years is called Dining with Diabetes, and we partner with the diabetes educators here at the hospital. And that's used to be a 3-part series, now it's a 4-part series. We prepare foods, the diabetes educators come in and teach diabetes content that is specific to help people manage their diabetes, talk a lot about nutrients and carbohydrates and food safety, and I talk about food prep and teach healthy recipes. So that's one program that we do. We teach that usually a couple times a year. And then another that we've done for about 6 years is Cooking Matters. And that is truly a passion to my heart and my coworkers. Adena helps us to promote that. You also sponsor, send patients to the program. And what we do is we do food prep. We teach people about meal planning, healthy recipes, a lot about food safety. That's been really important during COVID, is just being food safe. And we for 5 years we did these in person. People would come to class, we'd prepare food, we'd all eat together. Well, obviously COVID comes, March of 2020 kind of puts a kibosh on that. So we were actually the first county in Ohio to convert the curriculum to an online method. And over the last 2 years, we've done 13 classes online, which is hard to believe.
Wow.
Series of 6. So usually it's every Monday evening We're doing those classes. It's really worked very well in Ross County. It doesn't matter if your kids come home from school and they're busy, you can, supervise them and still participate in class with your computer. We have people do it from their phone. Some agencies have iPads that people can borrow for wellness, and so we've had a few people do that. We've had a lot of families do it together. So,
that's good.
Yeah. You might tune in and maybe your daughter lives in another part of the county or even another county, and she might tune in as well, those kind of things. We've actually had a few participants from Kentucky and West Virginia that tuned in with their family members from Ross County.
That's great.
And it's really, sometimes we have people say, well, I can't get to class because my car is unreliable, or I have sick family members. Well, you can sit on your sofa and do the online class. So it's actually been a blessing in a way.
Mm-hmm. If you can think back to people who have gone through Dining with Diabetes and Cooking Matters, what are some of the success stories that you're aware of?
We have really great comments our participants will share. We do have several couples that did Cooking Matters together, so a husband and wife specifically. And I love Larry and Nancy. They were one of our first class that we converted to online. They still come back to a class that we call our check-in class. So once a month they check in with us. We tell some new information or maybe a new recipe. And they have reported back just that when they started the class, they were both pre-diabetic, were taking several medications. Nancy is completely out of being pre-diabetic. Larry is greatly lowered.
Wow,
they both reduced medications, and it's made a big impact. And actually they go to Dr. Yandila, and she's been very happy about their prognosis.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And that's a win for you. It's a win for those patients. It's a win for Dr. Yandila, who knows that she's helping to make a difference.
Yep.
It's very easy for a physician to say, oh, you should eat less carbs, or you should increase your protein, or drink more water. And without some clear direction, like, oh, how much water? 32 ounces? Is it 48 ounces? What's a carb?
Right.
So your work is very important. So thank you very much for that. When folks are having difficulty getting food, there are often food banks that are available that will often have fresh vegetables. Do you ever partner with the food bank to help teach how to cook what's on the truck that day?
When we started this series of classes, the reason we picked Monday evening is that our office is in the Ross County Service Center, and that's where the Hope Clinic came twice a month to the mobile market, came out of a Mid-Ohio food bank and brought food. So that was specifically why we picked Monday evening. So we would bring people, instead of standing in line, come back and go to class. Well, now they're doing drive-through. But we have worked with several of the mobile locations, specifically pre-COVID. OSU has been very limiting about what we do with food and participants.
Yeah,
so that
understandably
yes,
so.
Yes, they have been. And so really encouraging when you're preparing food, a lot more virtual or pre-prepared and take it out. But we did used to go to those locations, and I was just talking with one of our partner agencies about a lot of them are doing drive-through now. So what are we going to do? Hopefully we will be able to go back out, because we can do that. So I know one specifically in the past. We had somebody, we had a number of people say, I don't know what to do with eggplant. I don't think I like it. I just don't know what to do with it. And so we prepared a couple recipes, and we've had a number of people say, I didn't know you could do that, and it actually tastes pretty good. And one lady told us a couple months ago, she said, I didn't think I liked eggplant at all. I'm 60 years old, and my husband liked it too and said I could make that recipe again. So, those are our wins.
Sure.
They're wins, definitely.
Sure. All right. Well, I think we're planning a food demonstration today, and I'm kind of excited about that. Do you have ice cream on the menu?
No, but I do have some whipped cream.
Oh, okay, good, because ice cream's my fave.
While we were away, we both washed our hands. That is a really important thing with food safety. especially important, I think, in the winter. Everybody's got colds, there's flus, all kinds of food illnesses going around. And then also it's a great way to prevent any other, prevent COVID. Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Right.
All kinds of illnesses can be prevented just by washing our hands 20 to 30 seconds. I'm not a physician, so I'm just going to say wash your hands really well. Warm soap and water, 20 to 30 seconds. Doctors are going to have a different protocol, but we can prevent a lot of things by just washing our hands. So we've already done that. I've got some food set out. One of the things you asked about was our Dining with Diabetes program. And so the first recipe I'm going to show is a recipe that comes from that Dining with Diabetes curriculum. And it's a real easy fresh fruit tart. It can be great for any time of the year. Mm-hmm. And you just use whatever fruits are in season. So I went to the local store yesterday. I picked up some different berries. So I've got some blueberries, some raspberries. Berries are great because lots of antioxidants, prevent lots of illnesses.
Good source of fiber.
Good source of fiber. They're really actually one of the better foods for diabetics. You can eat a larger serving of a berry because they do have, you don't think about berries being fibrous, but they are, especially strawberries. So I've got those. Then I got my knife, my cutting board. I took the stems off the strawberries, but because our tarts are tiny, I'm going to go ahead and just sort of cut those a little bit, little rough chop, so that we have some strawberries to put in there as well.
It smells good. Too bad we don't have smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision would be good, yes, it would be. And kiwis work really cute in this. They're green, they have a nice look. Apples work really well. So I've got a couple strawberries chopped. I went ahead yesterday, or this morning actually, and cored my apples, took out the stems and washed them. But I'm just gonna cut those kind of in smaller pieces. I went ahead and left the skin on because that's where a lot of the fiber and the nutrients are in the skin. And I also think it looks prettier. So, you can pick a pretty yellow or a green apple. These are Gala. I just personally like the flavor, and I know that the antioxidants are a tiny bit higher in those, but all apples are going to be good for you. And of course, they are grown in Ohio, so we love to promote that, local businesses, right?
Right.
So I'm just going to kind of cut these a little bit small. And as I said, I went ahead and cored these. I just poured a tiny bit of juice on them, and that was to keep them from getting brown. So you can do that with any type of juice. I just used a cranberry juice that I had to buy for that. Okay. You can use something like Sprite or 7-Up because it also has, So if you've got that, you can just put a splash in. It'll help keep the food from
browning.
Yeah. So we just go ahead and mix that in.
I learned something new just now.
Yeah. So we've got that berry mixture. We just stir it around. Like I said, the kiwi looks really cute in there if you've got that green. I was kind of lazy and I didn't want to.
And kiwi is a great source of potassium.
Right, and they are. So we've got a variety of fruits in there. And then the easy thing about this is, it looks pretty, right? All you're going to use is a low sugar preserve. So it could be one you prepare yourself. This is one I bought at the store, reduced sugar. And you're just going to take out a tablespoon or 2. So not very much. And mix it together. And what it starts to look like is kind of stained glass. It is my personal.
I can see that.
Sometimes I like to use, there's an apricot preserve, which just looks really pretty. But
So you're going for presentation points
Yes,
too,
we're going for
right?
presentation points. So that was pretty easy. We just stir that together. If your preserves are really thick, you might stick them in the microwave for 20 seconds to kind of make it a runny mixture. But it just
mixed very
looks
well.
pretty, yeah. And then we have a couple choices of what we're gonna put it in. One is these shells. They are available in the frozen section, kind of close to the pies at our local store. Couple dollars. I think you get about 18 of them, and they are pre-baked. You put them in your oven for 3-4 minutes to kind of toast them up.
To wake them up.
To wake them up, yeah, make them a little crispy. So you can do that. So that's these, just little tiny,
Neat.
cute. They might be something nice just to keep on hand this time of year, because sometimes you find out about something you didn't know you had to take a food to. And so I just toasted those up. The other thing is you can use wonton wrappers and kind of make your own. So wonton wrappers, grocery store, they're in the refrigerated section. And you can grab those, couple dollars. And you can do the same thing. So if you have a pan like this, so like a small muffin pan, and you can put those in and bake your own little.
I would never have thought of that.
Yeah, and they're a little firmer. They're a little crunchy. And so you can do the same thing yourself. Put those in. So what we'll do is we'll just put a little bit of this fruit mixture in either our homemade tarts, and you can put yogurt in here. You can put, if we're doing diabetic friendly, you could put a sugar-free pudding in here and put a berry on top, like a chocolate pudding would be really good. It'd look like Valentine's so.
Very nice.
They look cute. The only negative thing about these is you can't do them a lot in advance because it will get soggy, right. So you can have it all ready, and then close to the time you want to serve it, you can get them out. A friend of mine, she always says everything's better with a tiny dollop of whipped cream. So
I believe it.
yeah, and if it's just that amount, it's not bad for you, So that's one recipe that I like. It looks pretty. It's got healthy food in it. These are really low carb, there's not much to them. And you can also put veggies or cheese or something like that in there if you want to do that as well.
Very nice.
So that is one. You can also use these whipped yogurts. This is a chocolate version. It'll go in there, and then you can put a berry on top. So that's just an idea.
That's great ideas.
Yeah. And then the other one I brought is a version of a sweet potato bake. And this is one that I make for my family for Thanksgiving. And it was part of a cancer prevention curriculum. So you'll probably need to bring the camera over to see this. But what it is sweet potatoes, apples, raisins, and dried cranberries. And there we go.
Thank you.
So the original recipe used canned sweet potatoes. And when I got that, I thought, why are we not doing fresh sweet potatoes, which are really inexpensive? They're actually grown locally even. Bought them frequently at the farmer's market. And if you look at a lot of the canned sweet potatoes, they have added sugar. Well, there's no sugar been added to these. So I bought these. All you have to do is wash them. This one, just an example. Peel it.
Easy peasy.
I love this peeler. This is my favorite kitchen gadget probably ever. This wide peeler. So you're gonna, do that. You're gonna just cut it into chunks. So I did this last night so that it was all ready. Kind of cut it into almost like a wide, and then just cut into chunks. Now what I'll say is, if you're somebody with mobility issues, sweet potatoes are hard to cut. So that's when this canned version is going to be a lot better choice for you, right? If you're not, though, this is going to be less expensive and a lot better for you.
Yeah, you control how much sugar goes into this,
Right, right.
not what they tell you.
Right.
They're going to
So
do.
this is not a terrible addition of sugar, but still, it's added sugar, and we don't need added sugar. And then what you put in is some dried cranberries, some dried raisins. You could also throw some fresh cranberries in if you have cranberries from your Thanksgiving. It's got a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of nutmeg. And then the original version had half a cup of added sugar. I've reduced that. I only put about a third of a cup.
Well, it's still very sweet.
Yeah, it is. Just the natural sweetness. Sweet potatoes, the dried fruit, and it's got an apple, one of those apples in there. And
very good.
I put it all in a bag last night, put it in the refrigerator at work. This morning, I dumped it in the crock pot. You can also bake it in a baking dish in the oven. You know, you can throw it in the microwave if you're in a hurry. But my own family, I started making this about 8 years ago because we made it for a program, and even the teenagers love this better than the kind with all the sugar and the marshmallows and all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to offer those 2 suggestions as examples of ways to make food that's a little healthier for you and tastes pretty good. So I think one thing that we started to talk about earlier is if you do have a health problem, make sure that when you choose what food you're taking to the dinner, pick one food that you know you will eat, your family will eat, that is good for you. There's going to be lots of other choices, but if you know that you've brought one thing, probably maybe a side dish or whatever, but if you've brought one thing that is, you know you can eat, then then you can eat little bits of the other things and still try the fun foods and that kind of thing.
Yeah, you can still enjoy them, but you know you have a fallback.
Yeah, you have a fallback and something that's really tasty.
Actually,
and
it's not even a fallback. It's really good.
It's really good.
It's not a fallback. It's really good.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that I encourage people to do. We have family members who are diabetic, and so I always make sure that the foods that I bring to the dinner, at least 1 or 2 of them, are things that they know they can eat, and then they can try some of the other stuff, but that way they've got some foods that they know they can eat a little more of.
Sure.
So,
and one of the key things, you said you've been making this for 8 years, so
yes.
You had to learn the recipe on the front end,
right.
but you've been able to use that recipe for a long period of time. So people I think many people are intimidated by learning something new. But if you invest a little bit of time on the front end, you can have lots of healthy choices later on.
Right. Yeah, I did make this for Thanksgiving with my sisters and my nieces and nephews, and have a 17-year-old niece, and she comes in and she opens the crock pot. She's like, "Oh, good! It's the good sweet potatoes." And I think some people would think like it's not the good sweet potatoes if it didn't have sugar all over the top and marshmallows or whatever. She's like, "No, it's the good sweet potatoes." So,
Good.
teaching those lessons to people that are learning to cook and who are younger, I think, is really important.
Sure. All right.
So if people want to sign up for some of our classes, like for example, the Cooking Matters class, they can talk to their Adena doctor if they're a patient. We do always send flyers about that. Our next series, because it is 6 weeks, doesn't start till the end of January. Taking a little break for the holidays, people are taking vacation. We know a lot of you are doing things, family members are doing things. So we'll start January 24th, but they can call our office, they can email us, they can ask their Adena doctor how they can get signed up. So,
Great.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa Barlage, thank you so very much for your time and your expertise and for helping to keep us healthy.
Yep, thank you very much.
All right. We're going to take a little break between now and January 20th. We'll be back with the Living Well with Adena around that time. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, and enjoy your holidays with your family.